I don't feel alone. You just settled in and it already feels like home.
You're listening to the Feels Like Home podcast with Mike Throne and Marty Ford. Powered by Horizon. This is big. This is gig.
Hey, everybody. I hope wherever you are, you're having a great day. We are having a great day because today we are going to be talking to Ben Thompson. Ben is the owner and operator and the founder of Hometown Apparel, Hometown Threads, and he currently has a spirit shop, so all of your high school apparel and so on in the Fort Collective. And Ben's a guy that is not a native Chillicothean, but he's got a great passion for the town, and that has translated into his business. And so we get into a lot of that tonight with Ben Thompson, and I hope you enjoy. Well, we're really excited to have Ben Thompson with us, the owner, operator, founder, head guy in charge of Hometown Threads and Hometown Apparel.
Correct.
Does it go apparel and threads? Like, I can't remember, but the spirit shop.
Two different companies. Yeah, three, I guess. Yeah.
So, of course, Ben has a spot out on North Bridge Street.
Correct.
And then, of course, has been part of the the Fort Collective with Roast, and your friends at Kindly and the Stack as well.
Right.
And so we're excited to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and just glad to be here.
Yeah.
So, the thing that strikes me is that you're not a native Chillicothean.
Right.
I believe you're from Lancaster originally, right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just curious, like, how did you find your way here? I know that you were on staff at Open Door for a while and kind of came through it that way, but how did you find your way to Chillicothe?
Yeah, so let me rewind and say, being recorded for a podcast makes me very nervous. And I put a Facebook post out one day that talked how much I loved Chillicothe. It's home. It's such a great place to be. And within 5-10 minutes, Mike messages me and says, "Hey, we want to have you on." I thought maybe I should delete that post. Can I rewind real quick? Because now I'm nervous. But no, Chillicothe is home. I grew up in Lancaster and born and raised there, went to Lancaster High School. My faith became really important to me when I was in high school. And I was attending a church where Mark Pfeiffer, the pastor of Open Door, he would go there every once in a while and preach. And I guess long story short, got connected with Pastor Mark and came to Chillicothe to attend the School of Ministry that Open Door kind of has.
Oh, right.
And
Soma.
Yeah, School of Ministry.
Sorry. Yeah, thanks.
And started attending that when I was 19 years old. And it wasn't much longer after that I made Chillicothe home. So.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is, if you post anything really, really positive about Chillicothe, you're probably going to get a message from me.
Correct.
Because that's pretty much what we're trying to do here. So is to tell that story. So
yeah.
Don't be scared. Yeah. We're not that bad. No. So
it's pretty. We make it pretty easy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. In some regards. So obviously that's one track of your life, but then the other track is the business that you created.
Yes.
And how did that come about? I know, I feel like Mark does a really good job of creating the idea that your faith is part of your story.
Sure.
That your vocation can speak about your faith.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if that's part of it or how this all came about.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So we are Hometown Apparel is the primary business. And like you said, North Bridge Street. So no one knows where we're at. We've been there since 2016 and people walk in and say, "I didn't know you were here." And when people call and ask us for directions, I begin to explain to them they can't understand it until I say we're right beside Witt's Frozen Custard. And they're like, "Oh yeah, I've been by your shop hundreds of times and just didn't realize it." So we're out there on North Bridge Street. But really we started as a promotional products company in 2006. And at that time, I worked for the church. And if you've ever worked for a church, sometimes you need to supplement the salary that you make from a church. And so we were looking for ways to do that for me. We started the promotional products company where we sold mugs and pins. And really, for many years, it was just a way to make extra money. And before long, we found a niche in apparel. In 2016, decided to go full time after working a job, on the side. And so since 2016, we've been on Northbridge.
Yeah. And that, of course, the apparel side of it has also grown into the threads side of it.
Right.
It probably seems like a really weird distinction if you're listening out there right now, but the two are that apparel kind of does a lot of spirit wear and does custom orders.
Right.
Whereas Threads is sort of an apparel shop that features obviously a lot of stuff that speaks to how much you love the town.
Yeah.
But it also kind of
Locally
focuses
themed.
on, just some really neat and interesting gifts for people too. And so when did that kind of come about? Did you feel like it was part of a growing part of that business, or did it just sort of come up like, hey, maybe we'll try this and see how it works out?
Yeah, so I think what motivated Threads, which is downtown at the Fort Collective, was a few things. Number one, we would categorize Hometown Apparel as more of a business services. So we work with folks like Romarty, works the Kington National Bank, different restaurants around town. So we do embroidery and screen printing for business customers, essentially. And then we have the high school stuff. At one time, we had local apparel, like things that said Ohio and Chillicothe, and we found that people were really interested in those things. We also found that people, again, didn't know where we were at North of Bridge Street, and we wanted to make the local, I guess, sort of like boutique type apparel more accessible to people that are shopping. And so that was kind of what led us to look to kind of separate the two and get the boutique type items in downtown, and then keep the screen printing and stuff out in North Bridge. But couple other things that led to it. The Fort Collective popped up, and what an incredible facility. And we just, honestly, I was like, I don't really know how successful this little shop will be, but I've got to have something in that store or that location. I want to be a part of the downtown. I call it the downtown revival. Things are obviously coming back to life. And so honestly, it wasn't even about necessarily expanding our brand or making a lot more money. It was about, I just got to be in on what's happening downtown somehow. So I'm going to move my boutique type stuff downtown. So that's how we came about there.
One of my favorite things that you did was during the pandemic, you marketed the shirt that featured the star. And I think, for folks that might be listening that maybe grew up in Chillicothe, the famed star on Carlisle Hill that is illuminated actually as we speak, because it's usually lit from Thanksgiving until after the first of the year.
Right.
I'm interested in the genesis of that shirt. I know that obviously it was a really tough time for a lot of people.
Sure.
We were all trying to figure out how to do that, how to live in that COVID shutdown world. And so tell us the genesis of that shirt.
Yeah. So it was a combination of a lot of things. So you referenced, the teachings that Pastor Mark and faith and business and how they go together. But I think number one, I do look for ways to make an impact that's more than the business and the community. I'll be honest, first to say that I get really busy a lot, so we're not always doing that as much as I'd like to, but it's like, okay, when the pandemic happened, it was like, what can we do to contribute something to the community? The other thing is I was unemployed. So I was looking around, driving my wife crazy because I was home every day. That's when I took up riding a bicycle, and I was like, well, I don't have a job, so I'm going to ride this bike every morning, and I need to find something to do because I didn't know how long, that we wouldn't we shut down because we felt like we weren't essential at the time. So anyways, as I looked for things to do, all of these different community events started happening and different fundraisers, and I thought, hey, I've got some time right now to contribute something, to raising money for food. A lot of the churches and schools were having like food drives for the local schools. And so I said, you know what, we can kind of be a part of this. We can create a shirt, sell it online. People were coming together in Chillicothe, and I thought we could probably make some money. I think we donated somewhere around $7,000 to the local food banks. And that was just really exciting. As far as the idea of the star, I love Christmas. I love things that bring people together like that. I'm a spirited kind of guy. And so when they lit the star as a sign of hope, I thought we have to. And I had been wanting to do a T-shirt with the star. Yeah. So it all kind of aligned together during that really rough season to say, hey, let's do something cool now with this design.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember when Luke did his address to the city and said, we're going to light the star as a symbol of hope that there's going to be an end to this. And we didn't know how long it was going to be lit.
Yeah.
And I mean, it ended up being over a year. And when they finally turned it off, it was funny. Like, I still never got used to it being on.
Yeah.
Like, it caught my attention every time I drove up the hill to the house. It just like, oh, there's the star. And I have a special, it's special to Jen and I. When we were dating, is where we were going to get engaged until a torrential downpour happened. So I loved that design. I thought it was great that somebody took this symbol of our city that, you know, Luke changed into this symbol of hope, and then you could sport it around on a shirt just to show your support for everyone and through this time. I thought it was a great idea.
Yeah.
It was almost like after it got turned off, you know, which would normally not be on in the middle of July anyway, right?
Right.
That we kind of missed it. And then when they turned it on a couple weeks ago, you know, right around the time of the tree lighting ceremony, it was like, wow, it's so bright.
Yeah.
We almost forgot that it had been on for a year. You know?
Right.
But so, you know, obviously you do a lot of other designs for that are related, again, like you mentioned, for Ohio, Southeast Ohio, and particularly in Chillicothe. How do those inspirations come to you? Like, there's a lot of uniqueness to what you do. I think there's a few others that do the same thing, and they do. Everybody's kind of has their niche, but I feel like you've kind of really focused in on finding these creative ideas that help to, you know, promote the town and promote your business as well.
Yeah. Well, you know, first thing I would like to say is, and this is the obvious, it goes without saying, but there's just an excitement. Obviously, it's been happening now for a few years about our community and about Chillicothe. And so I understood that, you know, people are very proud of our hometown right now. And people want to represent, people want to kind of get in on that momentum and that unity that we have. So I thought, man, I know there are different places that have different things that represent Ohio and Chillicothe, but I failed for me to say, okay, where's the one store, if I'm ever looking for anything Ohio or anything Chillicothe, I know for sure they're always going to have, you know, something in stock for those things. And so that's kind of where we started with the idea. And as far as what we're selling there, what we have, you know, I get a lot of ideas for someone that might say, well, why don't you carry something like this or like that? But if it doesn't have anything to do with Ohio or Chillicothe, I turn it down. Even if I know leopard print women tops or something are selling really hot somewhere.
Right, sure. They're
like, hey, you should carry that. It's like, no, it's not branded Ohio or Chillicothe. So I guess the goal is anything Ohio, anything Chillicothe, you know, or even Ross County or so on, you're going to find in our store. And with how proud people are right now of where we live, it's going really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see that falling off anytime soon either, because, I mean, every time we turn around, something new is getting announced or somebody's opening up a business that there's a lot of excitement about. And even some older businesses that have been around a while have this resurgence in excitement for being a part of what's going on downtown. I moved to I lived 5 blocks from downtown, and I moved to a house that's 1 block from downtown because my wife and I wanted to be a part of what is going on down here. And so, yeah, it's exciting to see.
And as is the running joke, as soon as Marty got downtown, I moved.
Yeah.
Basically to where he was, like 5 blocks away. So.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry, I keep bringing that up every time.
Right. I'm not bitter.
It was not intentional, I promise.
It's like, Mike, we're neighbors. He's like, oh, I just bought a house. I'm moving.
What? Yeah,
funny.
Yeah, that part is true for sure. You know, obviously, I think one of the really cool things about your story is that you're a transplant. You came from a different place and you found a home. And that's kind of how I felt as well. You know, when I came here to work for the Gazette in 1997, I thought, all right, I'll be here for 4 or 5 years and then I'll move away, you know, because I was a journalist, and journalists are transients to begin with. But what kind of really stands out for you as the things that really kind of this became home for you?
Yeah, that's beautiful. And let me back up and say it was a big, you know, that Facebook post where I talked about Chillicothe being home was kind of a big deal for me. I have a mom back in Lancaster and family that probably hoped for my return to Lancaster. And honestly, me and Heidi, we've talked about it many times. It's like every couple years, when we're renewing a lease or something in Chillicothe, we're like, hey, are we for sure supposed to be here? And we always come back to the conclusion that, yes, we're right where we are. So when I made that post about, and the reason I made it was half of my life, I'm getting old, and I was like, wait a minute, half of my life has been in Chillicothe now.
Right.
It is home to me. And so some of the things I think that maybe attracted me to Chillicothe, obviously opened the door of the church, and my relationship with Pastor Mark Pfeiffer came in a real crucial time in my life. I had a lot of challenges at high school, just personally I was going through. And so I clung to my faith, and I got to know Pastor Mark and Open Door. And that was my first draw, obviously. But then after that, it sounds really silly. No, I know most of us have kind of grown to not appreciate Bridge Street, mainly because of its traffic. But Bridge Street was one of my favorite things about Chillicothe, is because I'll never forget coming across the bridge with the lights and seeing the smokestack in the background.
Yeah.
Which was one of the first T-shirts that we drew of Chillicothe. And people were like, why do you have a Bridge Street shirt? You know, I try to avoid Bridge Street, you know, some people say. But obviously we all use that street a lot. But the sights of Chillicothe is beautiful to me. I love the rolling hills. I'm a Southern Ohio fan. There is, you know, Southern Ohio is as beautiful as any place I've seen. And so that's something that keeps me here. And besides those things, it's just the people. There is a incredible sense of community that I kind of think, well, okay, maybe I feel like that because I'm really connected and that's everywhere. I don't know that this is everywhere. I don't know the community that we all experience downtown and the relationships. I'm not sure that that's as rich everywhere as it is in Chillicothe right now. Yeah. And so it's really been relationships with people that have kept me here.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think we both would completely agree that we have some amazing relationships and an amazing sense of community, and that is a big part of the draw. Yeah. And you can go other towns and find, you know, community pride. That's not uncommon, but there's something different about what's happening here. I find myself in conversations with people all the time through work where I'm explaining, like they're saying, like, what's happening in Chillicothe? Like, can you explain? Can you tell me why this is happening? And I go through and I'm like, well, the Carlisle building and all these businesses that have opened up, and try to explain it. And then I'm like, yeah, but then it's all those things. And then there's some like special ingredients that I just can't put my finger on. And it makes it fun to talk about. It's the whole reason why we have this podcast.
Absolutely.
I feel like I say that every episode, but
yeah. Well, there's always a couple things that we do as a theme, but I've spent a lot of time thinking about this because when I was with Gannett, I was in a lot of different communities: Mansfield, Zanesville, Lancaster, Bucyrus, and nothing against all those folks. But when I would ask them, like, you know, if somebody like really needs something, who do they go to? And they would be like, well, you know, I don't know, like, you know, and I think here we could probably name 3 or 4 people sitting around this table right now. Yeah. Like, hey, you need something, you go right to that person. Yeah. And you're right. In that sense, it's not everywhere, you know? And I get the sense, and my frame of reference is almost 25 years now. But what I've gathered in that 25 years, I think lasted 25 years, if not more than before I got here. And that is, there's always been 3 or 4 people that somebody knew that you could go to when somebody was in need. Right. And so I think that makes a place pretty special, you know? And I think when you know, that you can rely upon the kindness of the people in the community, that was really what makes it special. I remember when I first came here and I said, so what are the essential experiences that I have to have when I get to Chillicothe? And they talked about Krispy Kreme donuts and go to the Cross Keys and, you know, these different places that they said that, you know, go to Sunburger, go to Jerry's Pizza, things like that. And I remember thinking, like, I don't know that we had anything like that back where I was from in Sandusky. I mean, we had a few places, but it was mostly centered around the tourist culture, you know, because a lot of people that come there for Cedar Point. And so tourists don't necessarily care about your local establishments. There are a few places like that, but it felt like there was a lot more to work in there, you know? And I think really, I think when people visit downtown now, they're looking for the entire experience, which means, Fort Collective. It means all the other places downtown. And I think it's become a destination, and so.
Yeah, I think you used the right word, an experience. Like go back 15 or 20 years and coming downtown was not an experience.
Right.
Like you would come down for specific things, like to meet with your attorney or go to the courthouse because you were in jury duty but there weren't a lot of like what I would consider experiences. But now it is transformed into something where people do come downtown that they could spend a few days trying to catch up with everything that's going on. And then like now with the Christmas lights, my boss, Phil, he grabbed me yesterday at the end of the day and he's like, oh, hey, my family went downtown last night and man, the lights really looked great. I appreciated our sign next to the tree. And like, it is an experience that people can come here. There is an attraction from a tourist standpoint that not a lot of communities have.
I think that's kind of what you're talking about too, Ben, when you said, look, I really want to be part of this. Mm-hmm. Even in your head, you were probably saying, well, it doesn't really make sense for me to open a second location, but I got to be part of the energy, right?
Absolutely. And to kind of piggyback what Marty just said. So when I worked for Pastor Mark and Open Door full time, really, when I was about 21, I worked downtown at Soma. It was on North Paint Street there. And it's no insult to some of the great businesses that have been here forever, but there wasn't much downtown.
Few and far between back then.
And it's like every day for lunch, I would literally eat grinders every day because it was right beside Soma. Mm-hmm. And back then I would have said, I'm so sick and tired of grinders chips. And today I long for grinders chips.
And the dip. Yeah.
And the dip. Yeah. Right. So, it's just, me and Heidi did a really risky, dangerous thing a couple years ago. We moved within walking distance to Krispy Kreme. Mm. And that was really stupid for someone that was trying to lose a lot of weight at the time. We've done good. We've done well. But anyways, it's like we wanted to be even closer to it. So we bought a house on East 2nd Street, and which actually was perfect because when the Fort Collective went up, we opened Threads. We're on the same block as that. So it's just exciting. My family, they'll come from Lancaster and they'll say, wow, this downtown, it's, one night we were walking around, it was in a summer, and they were just so impressed with all the people everywhere. And then some guy, in a legal golf cart goes by and they're like, are we on a vacation town? Like, what is happening downtown here? So it's awesome. And we're glad to be a part of it.
So what made you, so you already had the 2 locations. What made you jump into that 3rd location at the Fort Collective?
Yeah, it's, I'll just be honest. It's not like a super strategic business move or anything. It's temporary, number one. Okay, it's just for the holiday season.
So just kind of a pop-up store?
It was basically an 8-week pop-up store. Right. And the problem is we are growing exponentially up at North Bridge, that we had a large countertop, a sales counter that used to be in the back of our store. And about every year we move it about 10 feet closer to the door because we need more space for the custom work we're doing. Literally, I was like, guys, we have to move this thing all the way to the front door, and all the high school stuff has to leave this facility for us to do our jobs up there. So I needed somewhere to put it. And I thought, hey, it's the holiday season. That room at the fort wasn't being used. So honestly, I haven't put a lot of thought. We don't know what's going to happen after the holiday season. Sure. Stay tuned to our Facebook page for an update. We don't know yet, but we won't be there forever.
Because you moved that counter, there's no going back.
No going back. Yeah, there's no way.
That if anything, you're going to have to figure out how to get more space in that North Bridge location for sure.
Hey, Wits.
Yeah.
I don't know. You might have a fight there. Face the wrath.
That's true. Absolutely. Yeah.
Wits from where they're at.
So as a kid, that landmark was called the Astromart.
Okay.
When I was at that corner, because that's what was in the corner where Wits is. Okay. There's a little carryout called Astromart, and then where you were was a bar restaurant, the Stagecoach or something like that.
Yeah, Stagecoach, yeah.
And so that was the landmark. It was like, oh, turn right at the Astromart. Turn right at the Astromart. So, now it's become Wits in hometown.
Yeah.
Feels Like Home, sponsored by Horizon. We'll be right back. For more than a decade, Horizon has been developing fiber optic broadband solutions for healthcare, education, government, wireless carriers, data centers, and enterprise customers across Ohio and surrounding states. With state-of-the-art technology that provides the highest in speed, reliability, security, and redundancy, Horizon's innovation and flexibility continues to help businesses do what they do better. These evolving applications are making fiber the new standard for reliable connectivity, even for the smallest of enterprise businesses. To learn more, visit horizonconnects.com. And now back to Feels Like Home, sponsored by Horizon. Do you feel like there's great leeway to experiment in Chillicothe? Like, obviously that pop-up store is done out of necessity, but you also kind of feel like, look, there's an opportunity to do this because things are on the upswing. Yeah. Traffic's going to be good. I mean, do you feel like that's kind of part of it as well? Yeah.
Matter of fact, if I wasn't married, I would have started 3 or 4 other businesses that I know nothing about. I have ideas for restaurants, a taco shop. I've had it's like all these things that I know nothing about. I'm like, wow, this location downtown would be great for this type of business. And so obviously you're seeing that with new things popping up everywhere, but I think it's a great market. And there's a lot of, I think it's happening sort of on some level all over, but people are I don't know if they're leaving the malls. Of course, some of it's shopping online, but people are returning to shopping small, and they're returning to their local businesses. And I think it's a perfect time for downtown.
I think the number of people that have started businesses in the last 4 or 5 years has grown the sphere of influence for the regular person. So, for example, for you, if I didn't know you 4 or 5 years ago, but now I do, and then I just saw you come through COVID, my level of awareness of how tough it is for a small business, especially during COVID, is heightened, right? So now I start to think about it like, I know Ben. He's a friend of mine. I want Ben to be successful. If Ben's successful, I think we can all feel successful. And so that, I think, lends to the idea of, I'm going to support you, and it doesn't hurt that you're making great apparel and great things that I want to slap on my kids and on my friends and everything else, send to my, son or daughter that might be living somewhere else, and let them, I think that's part of it too, is just being able to say, we've got a connection with this person or these people, depending on what business it is. And we're going to continue to support them to help them support this community, Absolutely. It's definitely, I think, a feel of a strong sense of community at that point, right? And I think when this is not a knock because I know you love Bridge Street, but like it's a retail oriented quarter with a lot of big box stuff and franchise stuff.
Sure.
And so if there might be some community to that, but it's always going to be somebody else's restaurant that doesn't live here.
Right.
In theory, right? When it's the Poorhouse or Our Kitchen or the Dock, I know those people.
Right.
I grew up with their son, or their kids playing the same soccer team as mine.
Yeah.
And that helps, I think, tremendously.
I think so. And if I could add to that, I feel like this is what I'm experiencing personally, and I can't assume that everyone feels this way, but with all of that, I'd say our nation, but even our world has been through in the last couple of years, from all the situations that have, wrecked and had turmoil. I feel like there's a lot of distrust, with national media, and people don't know what's true. We're all kind of trying to figure out, well, what's actually true about this situation or that situation. And for me, when I don't know exactly what's true on a national scale, I feel like I can turn to people I know in my community and I can find sort of truth with them. And I may not trust everything I hear on the TV, but I trust Marty and I trust Mike. The people that as the attention gets less on things that we can't control, we focus on the community around us. I think that's also why people are kind of turning back to small community. Yeah.
And we were talking before we started tonight, just a little bit about that. I think you brought up a really good point that I feel like regardless of the way you voted a month ago in the election here in this town, you may have voted for some D's, you may have voted for some R's. We kind of all trust each other at the end of the day and feel like we're all trying to work toward the same thing, which is, in the city, making the city better, and the county, making the county better. And we may not feel that way about Congress. We may not feel that way about the state legislature or the White House or whatever that looks like, but we can feel pretty confident of that because at the end of the day, I can go to the city hall and look the mayor and the city council people in the eye and go, listen here, I got some things to say.
Right.
And they'll listen, right? Because they're there.
Right.
And I think that helps a ton, but I thought we had a good shared thought there earlier tonight when we were just talking about, honestly, we don't have to dislike each other, even though we don't disagree on don't agree on everything.
Sure.
So I don't know if folks need to hear that more from people, but it's okay. It's okay to have disagreements about COVID or about politics or about different issues, as long as you're respectful about it and you're trying to reach some common ground, So
Ben, what you were talking about with like media not knowing who to trust, I think that's a really big problem, and I think that people are turning back to sort of an older way of getting their news, so that they can trust it. And so I think we're seeing that. I listened to another podcast that almost every episode, it's always a celebrity that they're interviewing, and they almost always ask, "So where are you getting your news? Like, are you a CNN guy? Are you a Fox News guy? And almost everybody that they ask that question is coming back and saying, "Oh, well, I've got some, like my political news comes from some inside people that I know." And you're not going to a news source? Oh, no, I don't trust any of the news sources. And so there's this distrust for that. And so now it's going back to, I'm getting some of my news from Mike directly because I feel like I trust Mike and he's in the know.
Right.
And I believe what he tells me is truth. Or I can talk directly to the mayor. I can talk directly to,
my council person.
Right. And I think that is
my county commissioner.
That is just a pattern that we're seeing, not just here, but everywhere, that people are starting to, it's not a regression per se. It's just it's finding a different path to get the trustworthy news. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that. I apologize.
No, I think it was a tangent, but I think it was a necessary tangent because I think, it's the same way. Like I think people are looking at, I think our culture right now is starting to say, I don't have to always shop at this place. I don't have to always eat at this restaurant.
Right.
There's this great variety of things out there that if I'm going to, live a life, I need to kind of expose myself to multiple ththings. And I think that's not a bad thing. You can get a shirt from Hometown Apparel or Hometown Threads and get one from Totem or, any other place, right?
Right.
Like sure, we want your business, but it isn't a bad thing if you go to other places. In fact, it's probably better for us,
Yeah.
because the variety and the competition that we have is a good thing.
You were talking about Bridge Street. I mean, Bridge Street is necessary for our local economy, and it is a large draw from all over Southern Ohio. I mean, you can go and sit down in a restaurant on Bridge Street, and you'll see people from Jackson and Portsmouth and Gallipolis and just Washington Courthouse and from all over. But the beauty of what we have to offer is sometimes they come here for Lowe's and they make the side trip to Roast Coffee or Paper City, and then they hit your shop, and then they go to Totem, or they go to, they come downtown. And so like that's become, I have a friend who lives just outside of Willersburg, and I run into him at the coffee shop all the time. I said, "What are you doing all the way up in Chillicothe?" He's like, "We come here, I'm building a house, and we come to Menards." But when we come to Menards, we have to come get coffee.
Right.
And so every time, that's a long drive, but they make it like multiple times a week because there's a draw here.
There is. I know people that come from out of town, just to visit here. So we developed this thing at Threads Lydia, our manager, she does a great job. She said, Ben, we have so many people that come in our store and want to buy a Chillicothe shirt, but they're from out of state or out of town. They've never been here before, but they're coming to see everything and take tours or do whatever. And so we come up with this idea. I said, you know what? Everyone that comes from out of town that's not from Chillicothe, we need to give them a free sticker. And so we give everyone a free Chillicothe sticker. We ordered, this was a couple of months ago, 100, and they're gone. We had to order more, constantly. And it takes a little work. I'm sure we miss some, but it takes work for the girls to say, hey, where are you from? And once they find out, we give a free sticker. And so it's been fun to see all those fly off the shelf.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's a great testament to, and again, these things don't happen in a community that does not feel welcoming. Mm-hmm. And that's welcoming. Right. I've had this conversation with Matt and Chelsea from Wheatberry Books a lot too, because they get people in from all over the place. And we always kind of chuckle about it. Like, these are folks that could easily order from Amazon. Right. But they will come to Wheatberry Books. Why? Because when you walk in there, you're getting a personal feel and you're getting a personal touch. You're offering a personal touch, and that means everything. Mm-hmm. I think in a world that has felt fragmented and disconnected, anything that makes me feel at home and welcome, mm-hmm. I'm gonna eat that with a spoon, right? Like I'm drinking that from a fire hose, Yeah. So other than trying to figure out what to do with all that spirit apparel after the first of the year, what other things are you thinking about for your businesses? And are you dreaming big? Are you just trying to focus a couple months down the road, or how's that working for you right now?
Yeah. So I'll start by saying this. Have you ever, I had a good idea. And then afterwards I wasn't so sure if it was a good idea. I don't know if you've ever done that before.
Oh yeah.
Every day.
Okay, great. So
getting out of bed, I think is one of those.
You're in great company.
Good.
Ben.
So I had this great idea. I wanted to have, so our team has grown a lot. So right now we have 15 employees.
Nice.
And that's between Hometown Apparel, Threads, Spirit Wear Shop. And I had this great idea that I wanted to do annual reviews, sit down, connect with my employees, get to talk to them, get some feedback from them, give them some feedback. And I said, there were 12 that could do it one day. I said, I want to knock out all of these in one day. You know how it is. I didn't want to do 4 weeks of meetings all over the place, leaving the office all the time. So I took today and started at 8:30 in the morning and finished at 6:30 at night and talked about business. So if I fall asleep at some point, if you see me nodding off, that's why back-to-back 12 meetings today was maybe not a good idea.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
But they're done.
Yeah, they're done. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And so I've talked over and over today about business and vision and stuff. So I'm certainly prepared for that. And that wasn't on purpose. It just happened to be like that. But no, so there are two kind of things that are happening, I guess, with Hometown Apparel mainly. Threads is doing great. You're not going to see a lot of changes with Threads. You're going to see more and more, local apparel there. High school stuff, we're going to figure out what to do with that and how we're going to make that available. But Hometown Apparel is just growing. Our customer base is growing. I'm just talking about 15 employees. A lot of that's happened over the last couple years, which I don't know what that's a testament to, whether it's God or community or whatever, but to grow that much through the pandemic has just been surprising. It's been a blessing. It's also caused a lot of growing pains, of course, but we're growing. And one way that we're growing is, so we've relied on the help of a lot of local contractors to help us with printing over the years. And we are making huge transitions to bring everything we do in-house. And so it's causing me to have to hire a production team, order a lot of equipment, find space for equipment, hire employees. So we're going through all that. It's a really exciting time. For years, I've been able to focus more on the marketing and customer service side of things, but now I'm going to have more control over every single product that leaves our facility because we're going to touch everything. And so that's exciting that we're growing in that way. The other thing too, I'll add is I've reflected a lot, and it's been a really cool year for me as far as business. So we started in 2006. For the first 10 years of my business while I worked another job, if you ask me, what's the brand of your company? What's your why? They call a brand. It's the why you do what you do, not your product. And so for the first 10 years of my company, if you asked me why I did what I did, I would say, well, to make extra money. I had a full-time job. It kind of started as a hobby, but it was vacation money for me. And so in 2016, when I opened Hometown Apparel in North Bridge, I would read marketing books and branding books. And I was like, man, what is my why? And it's, listen, no offense, but I think if you're, Shauna and Sarah, or your Trent, or the gals down at Paper City Coffee, I feel like those community-based businesses that draw people that have conversation, what an easy why. You can figure out your why real easily. You gather people together, to eat and fellowship and stuff. Right. But for a guy who just sells T-shirts, I just sell T-shirts. It's like I would go back and forth. What is my why? And I believe for me, here's what I've discovered. I'll try to finish this up here in a second. But what I've discovered is, who is Ben Thompson? I grew up in the church, and my whole life was about serving God, serving people, loving and encouraging people inside the walls of the church. And I think what I'm realizing this year is that I've always known this sort of in my head, but to see it displayed through my heart is new. But the same qualities, the same things that make me who I am in the church is actually just as useful in the community, in the business world. I'm like realizing that. And so if my devotion to my church was all about loving, encouraging people, well, you know what? As a boss, it's all about loving and serving people. Yeah. And even our customers, might I say, I love and want to serve our customers. I want to see them succeed. And so other than growing, I think the other thing that's really cool at Hometown Apparel is I'm actually discovering my why, my purpose. Why am I selling shirts? Why are we downtown Chillicothe? Well, we love our team. We love people. We want to be a part of what the positive impact is in our community. And obviously we're just a small part of great things that are happening, but I think I'm finding my why, which is really exciting.
That's really cool. Does that new soundboard have a nice bomb sound? Like, that's a truth bomb right there. So yeah, maybe. I know you've got all that other fancy stuff on there, but no.
Oh, that was crowd noise.
That's crowd noise.
That'll work. That's fine. Thank you.
You guys couldn't hear it because you don't have headphones on.
I love that thought process. Because I think it's easy for business owners sometimes to get a little bit caught in the day-to-day and into the hectic nature of it. I do it myself. I got 65 things to do before I leave on vacation next week. And how am I going to get them all done? And next thing I know, it's been, 4 or 5 days since I've had a really meaningful conversation with the two people that are really my direct reports. Right. Mm-hmm. And so, I think it's really, really great. I think God's gifted you with something there that I think is going to reap benefits for you down the road, and I think no matter what you're doing, whenever you find out really what the purpose of your business is, you can really start connecting the purpose to the apparel, the food, the whatever. And
right.
Boy, that's a great word. I really appreciate you sharing that with us.
And then at the end of that is success isn't just measured by that profit margin. And at the end of the day, there's so many other metrics you get to look at. And I feel bad for those who are in business that's the only thing that they can think about.
Yeah.
When you have an opportunity to have an impact on your employees and have an opportunity to help make their lives better. And those are things that you can't measure on the bottom, in your bottom line, but it's so important to the success of your business. And I think that brings customers back. I mean, I have a relationship. I have a business relationship with you. Ben's been making shirts for me for almost 5 years now, since I went to Kingston National Bank. And the reason why I keep coming back is, hey, Ben, I've got this idea. Is it crazy? Tell me it's okay to tell me this is stupid or crazy. And he's like, oh no, man, we can do that. Just give me the design. We'll make it work. We'll make it happen. And then we get these great shirts and employees love them. And we went to the pumpkin show this year with a great pumpkin show shirt. And I was kind of proud when Ben's like, hey, can you send me a picture of some of your employees in that? Because we'd like to use that. And it was important. Like next year, that whole thing's going to blow up because we're going to be the sponsors of that event again. And so what I should have done this year, I'm doing next year, is everyone who shows up with a pumpkin to get weighed in, they're going home with one of those
shirts,
talent thread shirts. So as part of their, getting to celebrate that they've spent half the summer raising this pumpkin that's gigantic. But that's why I keep coming back. I mean, there's a lot of other people out there that do what you do, but you do it different enough that I think that it means a great deal to your customers. Yeah. So good job.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, 45 minutes goes by pretty quick when you're having a good conversation. Is there any other things that maybe we didn't talk about that maybe you think we should talk about? Is there,
maybe two things. I just want to give a shout out to things in Chillicothe.
Sure.
I could probably give a lot. This is not just, suck up to you, Mike, since you're on the podcast here. But one thing I keep on coming back to that I'm just blown away by is, we talked about turning to people that we trust, that we know in the community, and not worrying so much about, we can have positive debate and stuff, but at the end of the day, at a local level, D and R by your name doesn't mean quite as much, as the national media might tell you it means.
Yep.
And I don't know the politics of anyone at the Chamber of Commerce, but I will say this. When COVID happened and I was shut down, I literally, and I feel almost cheesy the way I'm saying this, never felt alone. Like the email updates, the text updates, your staff, and also Tiffany Baldwin, how she relates to your staff.
Right.
I'm not sure, but the downtown stuff that she does, I just never felt alone. I never felt in the dark. Now, when I would watch things on the national scale, I felt completely confused. But when I would have a follow-up email from the Chamber of Commerce saying, hey, by the way, there was a grant, and this is what it means, and this is how you apply, I just really felt like someone had my back. Yeah. And so thank you. I mean, that really meant a lot to me
you're welcome.
Through that season.
Thanks for saying that.
Yeah, and then my second shout-out goes to the folks of Ross County who keep our bike path amazing. I've lost 155 pounds over a few years, and something I'm really proud of, because that's really hard to do because I really love food. And there was a point where I had to get healthy, and so I'm still working towards that goal. But when the pandemic happened, I couldn't go to the gym anymore. So I went and bought myself a bicycle. Hadn't ridden a bike since I was a kid. And I had never really spent much time on the bike path. That thing is really nice all the way from here to Washington Courthouse. I've rode the whole thing, but we have such a cool community. We have so many positive things, so many positive reasons to move here, to live here, to do business here. And those are just some things that I've just really appreciated about our community.
Yeah, the whole bike thing, Great Seal, I don't know if you're a mountain biker or not and get out on the trails
Not
there.
yet.
But they're the same way.
Yeah.
I'm part of a mountain bike community on Facebook locally, and a tree goes down, and within a matter of days, people are posting, hey, I got part of that log out of the way, or hey, now it's all clear. It's amazing how hard they work to keep that. And we've talked about it before. That's a gem in our community, the bike path and Great Seals trails. And they're just people who care. And it's not really coming from, I don't want to have to bicycle around or, throw my bike over a big tree. Yeah. They know that there are thousands of other people riding those trails on a, weekly, monthly basis, and they want them to be clear for them so that they have a great experience. That's community.
I think what you're talking about too, about the bike path going, toward Frankfurt and all that. I think, I've heard multiple times, and I don't ride it that much, but certainly not as much as probably you do. But, I've always heard too, like if there's a part of it that gets washed out from a storm or whatever, like the park district and everybody is right on it real quick.
Yep,
they are.
Or they're trying to figure out a way to make sure that nobody gets hurt until they can actually get it properly fixed or whatever. I think, again, we've said it a couple different times, but I think when you care about your community and you care about the people in it, it motivates you to do the right thing every time. And it motivates you to very quickly try to figure out how to solve problems. And I think, we're blessed to have a lot of people in positions of authority that understand that people are really the heart of the process. And so when people come to you and say, we've got a problem, let's fix it, then let's fix it. And I think I appreciate, your thought process on all that. I think we learned a lot of valuable lessons over the last couple of years. I think it just only has heightened our sense of community. And I don't know that that's a bad thing. I think that's a really good thing. And I think we'll be able to, as long as we continue to harness that in a positive way, we're going to be a lot better off. The seeds of that were already germinating.
Yeah.
You know, when we had the opiate issue here, we had to come up with a community solution for that. When we had a problem in downtown, we had to come up with a community solution for that. The traffic on Bridge Street, we had to come up with a community solution for that. That's it. That's still in development.
Yeah.
Right.
It may always be in development, you know, but those are the things that when you're coming together to try to do things, that always feels like everybody has a hand in the solution. So, you know, I you know, as far as Hometown Apparel, Hometown Threads, and everything that you're doing, we're just really excited that you came on because I think you've got a great story to tell. We appreciate the fact that you're there. We want you to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Because it's super important for us to have a community hype shop, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
One of them, you know, like there's nothing like, you know, the Star shirt is still one of my favorite shirts.
Yeah.
I wear it quite a bit. And I wear it with a great sense of pride because of the timing and when it happened and what it represents. So you guys have locked into that. I think it's great. I think it's great that your business is growing, and I'm hopeful that just keeps going for you for years and years to come. So
thank you.
Thanks for being on tonight, and thanks for all you're doing.
Thanks, guys.
You're listening to the Feels Like Home podcast with Mike Throne and Marty Ford. Powered by Horizon. This is big. This is gig.
It feels a little strange, but I don't feel alone. We just settled in and it already